All right, check futures, please. Some red ink, but not much compared to last week's big gains. Dow off maybe 180 at the opening bell. The Nasdaq down maybe 50 points. Let's check out these psychedelic drug developers. President Trump, he signed an executive order directing health regulators to speed up reviews, and he's boosted federal research funding. Those are psychedelic drug makers, and they're all up very sharply. 27%, 13% for Definium, and Compass Pathways up 28%. Solid gains after the president signed that order. All right, let's get back to the war in Iran. New video released overnight shows U.S. Marines rappelling onto the Iranian cargo ship, the Tuskar. This is in the Gulf of Oman. Iran is now threatening to retaliate for what's going on there. Retired four-star General Jack Keane joins me now. So we've seized a cargo ship, and the Iranians are ambivalent about peace talks. Is it time for the president to follow through with his threat to attack bridges and power plants?
Well, I think that we're going to give these negotiations a chance here. I'm assuming that Iranians, in terms of public discourse, are playing down the negotiations and likely for that reason, they're trying to indicate they're not all that interested. They may not even be coming. The fact that we're en route to Islamabad to do negotiations, I think privately the administration has got a head nod from them that they do want to talk. Look, at the pressure on the Iranians has changed quite dramatically. When we had these negotiations, a little over a week ago, what was going on then? They had shut down the Straits of Hormuz. We did have a ceasefire, and there was no blockade. Now we have a blockade, and since we put it in place, not a single Iranian distribution of oil has taken place, and we have turned around 25 ships, one way or the other, and one we had to use force to do it. So that reality is certainly embracing the Iranians. I don't think they expected that, and it's been a very bold move on the part of the president here to really gain some leverage. So going into these negotiations, we have significant leverage that we didn't have the last time. The last time, the main leverage was 2-week ceasefire, then we return to combat operations. We still have that, but we got this incredible economic leverage on them, which is simply shut down all of their revenue sources, over 90%. That is quite staggering. And what should that get for us? It's clearly what we want. We have our priorities, and the number one priority is the nuclear enterprise. We want all the enrichment that they have. We certainly want to make certain that they've dismembered and dismantled all of the technology they use to build nuclear enterprise, and that's centrifuges, cascades, etc. We have to see all of that. And also we want no enrichment whatsoever, because we know we give them a little bit of enrichment, it's a pathway to a nuclear weapon, as it has been in the past. And we need, and this is really important, Stuart, we need to bring inspectors in on a regular basis, anytime, anywhere, because as we've said time and time and time again, and you have said it yourself, these guys cheat. And they have never, ever granted anywhere, anytime inspections. There's always been a specific time, 1 hour only, here's the location. And even though we had evidence something was going on in another location, the UN was denied to go to that location. That nonsense has got to be over. Anywhere, anytime, and they have got to agree to it. And certainly the other thing is, a priority is, they have to open up the Straits of Hormuz. Sure. So, yes, I suspect negotiations are going to take place. President Trump is not going to make a bad deal here. We said that over the last negotiations. Hopefully something good comes out of that. And if not, obviously, we've got a major arrow in our quiver. And that is not only the blockade, but returning to combat operations. And certainly that is something the Iranians are very much aware of.
Do we know who's in charge in Iran at this moment? It seems like it's the hardliners in the Revolutionary Guard. Or is their leadership split?
There is no doubt about what you just said. The faces certainly have changed, and the positions they held in the past have changed. But the hardliners are fundamentally in charge. That is it. I think the most leverage is likely being applied by the IRGC leadership, Ahmed Vahidi and others, and they have taken control of the situation. And obviously they are the ones who opened up the straits over the objections of other people like the foreign minister who had just announced they took the leverage to close the straits, I'm sorry, after the foreign minister had opened up and made a statement that they were open. So IRGC carries more weight. It's not surprising. A leadership vacuum after the Ayatollah was killed. We can see that vacuum taking place. We haven't seen a new Ayatollah. All we've seen is statements from him. His voice hasn't really been felt. So what's happening? That vacuum is being filled. The guys with the guns, not too surprising, Stuart, have more leverage over the political types. The foreign minister and Galibaf, who comes out of a job as the Speaker of their parliament. Both of those, by the way, so our audience understands, were part of the IRGC. This is why the hardliners are definitely still in charge, and they're not giving up on their goals and objectives. And our people who are dealing with them are clear-eyed about this as well.
So should we attempt to decapitate the Revolutionary Guard, their leadership, all over again? If we know who their leadership is and they're obstinate and not giving in to us and our demands, do we go after them?
No doubt, if we go back to combat operations because everything falls apart here, I'm sure somebody's going to lean across the table and tell them, if you guys don't make a deal, we're coming after you personally.
Right. Yeah.
That all of you and the rest of your cohorts, their lives will be at stake. And you're going to get back to, number one job for them will be personal security. Number two will be preserving the regime. But number one will be hiding from our bombs and our missiles. That's a fact. And certainly the Israelis, who have great intelligence, the CIA also, in terms of locations, will do everything we can. Now, these guys, they've learned some lessons, and they're digging into much deeper holes in terms of protecting them well under the ground so that our bombs can't get near them. But that's certainly the leadership targets are high-value targets, and they'll be up there. But listen, Kharg Island sits out there. Right now, we're blocking everything coming out of it. Think of what it would mean if we took it down and destroyed it. And I'm certain we will mention that reality in the negotiations, as well as everything else that they care about, not just their military targets per se in terms of weapons, but all the infrastructure that supports weapons. And that has to do with power plants and everything else that's on that target list. By the way, just so our adversaries know if they're listening, we have twice as much combat air power in the region today than we did when we began the war some weeks ago. And the Israelis are full up and stocked and have the depth of magazines ready to go in terms of ammunition and weapons. So what would be unleashed on them now will be considerably more formidable than what they experienced weeks ago and what we were ending with just a couple of weeks ago.
General, I hope they're watching, and I suspect they are. General Jack Keane, everyone, thanks very much for joining us. See you again real soon. Thank you, General.